When I was growing up, of course, my brother and I, we knew we were both adopted from Ireland. But in our little minds, we figured we were the only two children in probably the United States, that came from Ireland. We didn't know the whole background or story. And so, yeah, we grew up with a sense of Irishness. My maternal adoptive grandparents were from Ireland, so we didn't really lose that, which was good. But we really didn't connect to other adopted kids in the States, even though we were part of support groups and so forth. We always felt like the odd man out, No, we're not the Koreans, we're not the, in-country US adoptees. So it was that sense of disconnectedness. And when I started to meet up with not just folks in Ireland who had been adopted in-country, but as we all started to band together on the internet, there were quite a large group of us in the Northeast US, in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and we started to hold little meetups. We get together once a year in Manhattan, and we felt like family. It was never, oh, my friend so-and-so. It was my brother, my sister. We really did. We kind of connected in a way that people outside of it wouldn't really understand. They'd think we were kind of strange, but no, this was our experience, And to share that with people for the first time was amazing, just like a relief. Like I can finally unburden myself and talk about this because here's this person who understands this. I mean, there were obviously differences, us being raised as Yanks and, our Irish compatriots, but we still had that shared experience. Like many of us came out of the same mother and baby homes, and, we talk about the twist of fate, like what sent you to the US, but I stayed here in Ireland, sort of a toss of the coin who went where. And that, I think, was always a keenly felt thought among all of us, is that we really had this dual fate that most people don't have, that we could have gone this way, we could have gone this way, but yet here we all are, and now we're getting the chance to share that with one another. And again, people outside of that would have no clue, what that feels like, but it's an amazing thing for, adopted people to get together and build support. I mean, I always knew I'd been adopted from Ireland. My adoptive parents were very open and honest and upfront about that, so there was no mystery, no hidden agenda on their part, to disguise that. And they always encouraged my brother and I if we ever wanted information. My mother actually came over in the early 80s and tried to get information from Bessborough and Cork, and unfortunately came away with little to nothing. But she said later, if that's something you want to explore further, you're certainly welcome to do that. And when I began to do it, it was sort of at the very early stage of the internet, so the resources were slim to none. And it was few connections that kind of brought me to Ireland, and online introduced me to a few friends and people that I got to know over the years. But it was very slow going, and information was few and far between. Well, at that stage, we were being roadblocked by the religious orders, so records had not even moved to some of the health service executives, and of course they were stonewalling us, wouldn't tell us, would give us misleading information. I was told that they didn't know where my mother was, but miraculously she somehow ended up being mailed letters and photos after I'd been adopted to the States, and I thought, well, how did she get those in the UK if they didn't know where she was? When I eventually grew frustrated with that, I finally found a woman who had offered to help, based in London, and within a year or so she had tracked down my mother. It turned out that because of my mother's own background, having come up through the industrial school and Magdalen Laundry trifecta, basically, at some stage her year of birth had been altered on her documents. So when we went looking for her, couldn't find her anywhere in Ireland, we broadened the search to the UK, and the lovely lady that helped me out said, well, let's, we'll look through marriage records, and we found a woman who matched the month and date of birth, but not the year, and it turned out it was her. So again, it goes back to that whole falsification of records, something that we as adopted people have had to face. Yeah, it took the better part of 10 years to find her. So that's how difficult it was at that time. And even when I found her, the nuns in Cork were still saying, you found the wrong woman. And I mean, I have friends who have seen the photos, and are they blind, And again, how did this woman end up with photos of me as a baby if she's, not my actual mother? But be that as it may, as difficult as it was, again, it was a great experience because it did put me in connection with my tribe. And now, the objective is to move forward with that, pay it forward, continue to help others who have, just started on that road. I found my mother, we reunited, we've had a beautiful 12 years before she passed, but it was heartbreaking for me when she told me she used to sing me lullabies, and I actually retained some of them. It's amazing. I heard one maybe about 20 years ago on a CD, and I thought I recognized that song, but I could not figure out where I knew it from. And when I finally found my mother, I asked her, I said, "Did you ever sing to me by any chance?" Oh, she said, "Every chance I got at night." She said, "I'd try to cuddle you until the nuns, would pull me away." And she said, "I would always sing to you." And yes, that was one of the lullabies that I sang to you. So those things are indelible. I don't have a whole lot of memories of being in Bessborough, but obviously there are things that do stay with you. And it was, listening to it from her side, yeah, it broke my heart, to know what she faced. My own experience, I also relinquished a daughter to adoption. I was forced to when I was 18 in the US. And I knew, myself as a mother, that I wanted to find her. I'd hoped she would reach out and make contact, which she did, and we've been reunited for many years now. But to me, it's always been an accountability thing. People can manage their own relationships. You shouldn't need a government or some other body in the middle of things telling you how or when or whether you should make contact. Let human beings decide that. If someone says, "No, I'm not interested, I can't face it," I understand that there were mothers, who tried to push this to a dark corner and can't face it. And believe me, my heart bleeds for those women, and they should be left alone. I would never advocate that anyone, willfully knock on a door and keep knocking if they're told no. But you should always get that first shot. It's never been about protecting mother's confidentiality. No mother ever signed any sort of confidentiality agreement. We've never seen one in writing. As far as we know, that's a unicorn, it's a myth, it doesn't exist. It just doesn't. What they did sign, and we know this, of course, through Philomena and other women who have testified, my own mother, is that they actually had to sign agreeing that they would never search or seek out and find us. So it was quite the opposite from what the government and others would have us believe. And again, I go back to the notion that we have laws to protect one another when things get out of hand or people don't understand when no means no. So why do we need additional laws? To me, that just says you are assuming that adopted people are somehow criminal or dangerous or damaged or incapable of handling our affairs, Also, what we have to accept is that in many of these mother-baby homes where I was born, and some of the other Sacred Heart homes, our mothers were with us up until we left for the States, and that was often 2 to 3 years. So you're talking about women who bonded with these children, who breastfed these children, changed us, bathed us, played with us when they could, when they had a few hours. So yeah, to just cut that and say no. It's important for survivors to have their own testimony told. I mean, it's one thing to give it to a tribunal or, a group of officials who are kind of, not to imply that they're cold. I'm sure there are caring individuals there who understand, but it's, okay, we're jotting it down, but this is more than that. It's run by adopted people, and it's using resources that have been graciously given to us that we're very grateful for, to put it in the right form, and it's a first. I mean, it really is,